Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm doing something a little different, and it's something I just thought of the other day, and that was to do some Atari 2600 live streaming at viewers' request. So anybody that ends up on the chat, if they want to throw some games at me that they would like to watch me play, then I'm going to play it, and I'm going to try and get to whoever shows up on the chat. Obviously, I'm going to have a few games that I'll just probably start off with just to get it going. And maybe nobody will come up on the stream. I just kind of started it now, so hopefully the word got out there and people are actually going to come on and start watching the chat. But if not, whatever. I'll just play some Atari games. So either way, I'm going to have some fun. So I've been thinking about what should I start with. There's a lot of games. I'm looking at my computer right now. I'm looking at all the different games I have. I have a ton of them here. I'm using an emulator, so I could pretty much jump onto almost any game that I want. So I'm thinking maybe let's just start with, I don't know, Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong always seems to be a good game. So let's give this one a start, and hopefully it works. There we are. Now this version of Donkey Kong obviously is not one of the better ones. Yeah. I always find the barrels kind of look like Ritz crackers or something. But Mario himself actually looks pretty decent. And if you were to compare him to, say, the Intellivision version, where Mario kind of looks like Charlie Brown, almost looks like a little kid. This one's actually not bad, and it also follows the board a little bit more closely to the arcade. At least the design of it. Maybe not the look of it, but... The other thing is, the sound effects aren't always there. How's it going, Michael? What's up? Glad you could join in. I mean, I just decided to do this on a spur of the moment thing. And Stephen Church is here. Now this level I really always had a problem with, because I don't know why they could not make the level look like the actual Donkey Kong level. I mean, even the Intellivision was able to pull that off. So why they had to make it like this, and the fact that these fire barrels thing. So Michael wants to see Chuck Wagon. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, let's play Chase the Chuck Wagon after this. That's a fun one. I did a video on Chase the Chuck Wagon a long time ago. Actually, one of my first few videos. Not long after I started Brian's Man Cave, I ended up buying a copy of Chase the Chuck Wagon off of this lady, Melissa. And she put out a post asking if anybody wanted to buy it, and she had the manual. And I knew that it was a pretty rare game. Like, I was kind of, I was kind of aware of that it was a rare game. And so I kind of communicated with her, and I'm like, you know, what do you got there? And she told me that she had the cartridge and she had the manual since she was a kid, which I thought was pretty cool. So let's get in there. Chase the Chuck Wagon. Man, it's been a while. Am I going to remember how to play this? No. I think what I have to do is I have to just navigate my dog through the maze, not get caught by that dude, and just get to the Chuck Wagon. Not a whole lot going on there. Alright, we're on to another maze. Now this game, it just seems like they really just tried to throw together something. I mean, they probably spent more time programming the look and feel of that chuck wagon up there than they did of actually coming up with a decent game. That's my doggy. You have to watch out for that bouncing meatball thing going across the screen. Not a lot to it. I think that guy up there is supposed to be the, I don't know, the guy that's chasing you or something. And there we go. There really isn't a whole lot of stuff going on in this game. I think on this one you just gotta time your, when you push the button, it kind of goes automatic. Now this is a prime example of a game that's worth a lot of money but really isn't worth the time to play it. I mean, this game usually goes in, you know, the $100 range. Some more, you know, some could be more expensive. If you have the box, if you have the manual, the value goes up, obviously. But I remember seeing like people on Atari age, they would actually find these games in flea markets and stuff, like maybe just the game itself, just the cartridge, and get away with getting it for dirt cheap. So, but I think that's a rarity. I don't think that's going to happen very often. I mean, it's like any other time you go to a flea market and you find like a rare item and it's worth a lot of money and the seller doesn't realize that, and you're the one that wins in the end. Yeah, the card is about $66, and I can believe that. 66 bucks loose. I paid a little bit more because she actually had the manual, and she was the original owner of it. So it was just one of those cases where she just kind of held on to it for a very long time and decided to get rid of it. It would have been cool to get the box too, but actually, one of my last few videos, I did of Matt's collection. He's an Atari collector, Atari 2600 collector. And in that video, I do show he does have a complete collection with the box and everything in the manual. I mean, this game is so weird. I can imagine back in the day when you had to like collect all your Purina UPC codes or whatever you had to collect just to get this game. You probably had to slap on some money on top of that, like shipping and handling or something. Actually, yeah. A decent port for the 2600 is Ghostbusters. Michael is also talking about that one too. And yes, I was quite surprised. I mean, I grew up playing the Commodore 64 version, and I didn't even know there was one for the Atari 2600 for a very long time. And when I found out about it, I had to have it, so I ended up buying it. Now, I was quite surprised on how well the 2600 version is. I think I just lost. I don't know what happened there. I just blew up. But yeah, I mean, it is a pretty decent version. This game is kind of weird. Yeah, Rex has just chimed in there saying this game is terrible. Yes, it is terrible. It's a very expensive, terrible game. Considering you could buy something like Pitfall for like $5, maybe a little bit more, maybe 10, I don't know, and get a much better game. How's Carlsberg Review doing? Nice to see you on my channel. Watched a bunch of your live stuff. You just chimed in. I'm doing some Atari games at viewers' request, which is pretty fun. Because I don't know what I'm going to be playing, so whatever the whoever chimes in and decides to throw some games at me, that's what I'm going to play. If I have it, of course. I think that's the dog catcher there. I don't know what happens if I run into him. Not a good thing. Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. Now that one, I think I've tried to play that one. Actually, you know what? I might actually have that one. And I think when I tried to play that, I didn't know what I was doing. Let's give it a shot, though. This will be fun. That's what I love about Atari. You never know what you're going to get into. Let's just go down to the R's here. Got so many games on this. Yeah, this is I don't know exactly where this comes from. Revenge. Did I pass it? I'm pretty sure I have it. Unless I have it on my oh, maybe, I don't know, maybe I don't. Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I thought I did, though. I think it's called Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes, right? Maybe I don't have it. That's too bad. It's a terrible game. That's all I remember. Amadare. Okay, I've played that one before. That's this one here. Now, as far as I remember, you're supposed to, like... Let's see here. So it's supposed to work. I think you're supposed to fill in the... yeah. You just gotta kind of keep filling in these square areas. That guy is chasing me. Okay. Wonder... Okay. Funny enough, this is one of those titles I never actually spent a lot of time on. I know I have the original, like the actual card, I should say. And I plugged it in to make sure it worked. But I didn't actually, like, really read about it. There is a few games like this where you have to actually, like, fill in a square area. One of them that comes to mind is Pepper 2 for the ColecoVision. It's one of those oddball titles where, why is it called Pepper 2 and there is no Pepper 1? But it's kind of similar to this, where you have to, like, fill in these areas, and I don't know what you're trying to avoid. Those things kind of remind me of the whatever the villains are in Venture on the Atari. Oh yeah, Kix, Quix, or whatever, QIX, however you pronounce that. I think that was the first one to actually be like this. Kind of slow. I mean, the way he moves. I don't know if there's a way to speed it up, but... Push the button to save yourself when they get close. What does that do, I wonder? Still got eaten. I guess you become invincible or invisible or something, and then... You know, in a way, this also kind of reminds me of Miner 2049er, where you have to, like, kind of run over the platform fill it in. Even the enemies, in a sense, they kind of look like that too. Only Miner 2049er for the Atari 2600 is pretty brutal. It's very slow. It's kind of annoyingly slow. Uh-oh. Almost there. See what happens when you, if I can complete this. This is fun. Level 2. Now why did it turn into that shape? What is going on? Oh, you can eat them. What? When you, if you paint all four, they turn into chickens, and then you can eat them. That is weird. Did I die? What happened? I guess so. Let's try that again. Now, is it better to run around the outside like this and try and get the whole perimeter? Or is it better to just go in each one individually? This also kind of reminds me of Burger Time. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's very similar. You know, you're running up and down the platforms, trying to run over certain areas, avoiding, dodging. You just can't squish them with the burgers. I guess you can eat these things at some point. No. Didn't last very long. So what do I have to do? I have to paint all four corners. Ooh. This game kind of feels like it's lacking something. I don't know. Maybe some music or something. Okay. How many times can I do that? Doesn't seem to give me any indication of how long I can keep turning them into invisible blocks. Oh, I see. Now they're a chicken. There you go. Okay, I got it. So you actually have to pay attention to when they become chickens. So when you make a box, that's when they become chickens, and then you can eat them. Whoa. That must have been, like, really crazy. Is that it? No. What's another game that people would like to see me play? I saw Amadeir there. I saw Ghostbusters. Lots of great games for the Atari 2600. You know, it's a great game that I always liked. And it's only so far the only game I've ever played it on is on the flashback, because I don't think it ever came onto a physical cartridge. And that's Aquaventure. And I played this on the flashback, so actually on the flashback portable was when I first started playing this. And this is a cool game because it's one of those prototypes that just never got released into an actual cartridge. It never got sold into the stores and stuff. It's kind of a shame because it's kind of fun. You pretty much have to just go down. Each time you pass the level, you have to go a level deeper. So if you have a flashback, like the AtGames Atari flashback, or if you have the emulator, whatever, on your computer, I would suggest trying this game. Q*bert. Oh man, I suck at Q*bert. Q*bert's fun though. Now I have to admit, when I first started playing this game, it was on the flashback portable, and the controls on that aren't as good. Like the firing and stuff, I find the button kind of fails a lot. It's not as responsive, and I would lose because of that. It's definitely a lot easier playing it on a proper kind of joystick. Whoa! And of course, oh no, you get more points when you. I'm losing all my divers. Did I just lose? Well, that was pretty crappy. But yeah, let's play some Q*bert. Q*bert. I think I have Q*bert. QRS. There we go. Q*bert. Yeah. Sorry. What? Let's try this one. Alright. Just to let you know that Q*bert's not one of my better games. Especially playing on a gamepad. This isn't actually a bad version of Q*bert either. Whoops. Oh. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Cool. Fantastic Journey. I don't think I've ever heard of that one. Why did I fall down the... Alright. That was dumb. Yeah, I always find with Q*bert, the controls mess me up. I don't know if I'm alone on this, but there isn't many games that's like this. Have I played Solar Fox? No, I haven't. In fact, I don't even know if I've ever played Solar Fox. Oh, I fell again! I get so confused with the controls on this. I like on the Nintendo one how it gives you that option to customize your controller, so you can decide on how you want to play the game. So you can decide if you want to have to, like, if you want to go to the corner, do you want to have to just push down or push down to the left, or, I mean, we're dealing with Atari, well, jeez, we're dealing with Atari here, so there's up, down, left, right. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to work with there. Because it was designed as four-way, only diagonal. Yeah, and I heard, too, some people would actually turn their controller diagonal to play this game properly. It doesn't seem like bad advice, actually, you know. I wouldn't do it on a gamepad. I don't know if it would make sense on a gamepad, but on a true edition, like actual Atari joystick, maybe putting it on that diagonal curve probably helped. Because you have to think, like, up is not actually going up. You're actually going, like, up into the left or up into the right, or... Yeesh. Not doing there. I think it's also another one of those games where if you play it enough, you start to get into the groove. Yeah, I can believe that. Q*bert's one of the most awkward games outside of using an original cabinet. I don't think I've ever, well, maybe I have when I was a kid. Back when I was a kid, all these arcade games, I would play them at, like, Chuck E. Cheese and stuff like that. The only one I really liked playing was Donkey Kong, though. Donkey Kong and probably Pac-Man. I think everybody played Pac-Man, though. But I have to say that this version was really well done for an Atari game. Oops. Not bad, actually. Actually, a lot of the Parker Brothers games are pretty good. Popeye comes to mind as being one of the good ones. What else was Parker Brothers? They had a few good ones. Ouch. So now I'm at that stage where I have to hit each block twice. One is not good enough. And I think also with the Atari version, we're missing some of the enemies too. At least one of the enemies, anyways. Hey, I got another Q*bert. And I have more discs to jump on. Ow. Yeah, it is a solid port. It's actually a pretty decent one. Compared to some of the other ports of classic arcade games like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. And I always felt with Q*bert, it doesn't really matter what port you play, they're pretty much the same gameplay experience, which is cool. So let's try, let's see if I have Solar Fox. I don't know, what is Solar Fox? Is that even an Atari game? Solar Fox. Solar Fox. I don't know if I played this before. I might have some problems here. Nope, never played this before. Alright, what am I supposed to do? Just get all these squares and not die? Oh yeah, Ugg and Wrong Way. Yeah, those are the characters in Cubert. Oh. I don't know if I have this one actually. It's not familiar. Billy O is asking about Spider-Man. Actually, yeah, I have played Spider-Man. Another one of those games that does take some getting used to. I can check to see if I have it. That's a Parker Brothers game too. Okay. Oh. I think this is pretty much the game, isn't it? You have to catch all these squares. Kind of reminds me of a few different games, kind of meshed together. Hold the button to move fast. Alright. Oh wow! Look at that. What did I hit? Did I hit something? Guess that's the problem with moving fast. It's crazy. It's like either slow or fast. There's no middle ground here. Guess you have to watch out for all that stuff flying at you. Wow. Crazy. You get to skip a rack with a bonus if you complete a rack before the timer runs. What the heck did I just hit? Yikes. That was it, eh? Well, let's just see if I actually have Spider-Man, because that's actually a pretty fun one. Oh, here we go. Although I don't remember it being this color. Could be wrong though. Oh, Spider-Man goes splat. Now I think with this one you have to get to the top, and I'm supposed to be trying to save these people while I'm going up there. So was this actually an arcade port? Like, was there actually a Spider-Man game just like this? Whoa, I only got familiar with it on the Atari. It is kind of frustrating because you seem to fall a lot. So Classy Jeff is asking if I would be mad if he enjoyed E.T. Absolutely not. I love E.T. Actually, my last video, which I just uploaded today, a couple hours ago, I think, where I talk about games that start with E, and I talk about E.T. And it's not the first time I've talked about it either. I've done like at least 2 different videos I've talked about E.T. One of them was movie games, games that were based on movies, I should say. And I talked about E.T. And you know, it really sucks that E.T. got this really bad rep that you know, worst game ever, brought down the industry and all that stuff, which is completely false. I mean, it had nothing to do with the collapse of the video game. You know, Howard Scott Warshaw had to like build this game in time to meet the demands of the Christmas haul. The video game crash had nothing to do with that. And the only reason why E.T. was quote-unquote a horrible game was because I don't think people were really prone to reading the manual at that time. I think people just wanted to put the game in and start playing it. Without actually understanding the way the game is supposed to be played. And if you actually understand the way the game is played, it's pretty decent. Like, you have to know what all the symbols are at the top. I'm playing horribly here. I don't know how I'm still playing. I thought I would be dead by now. But yeah, I mean, the way that they portray it is, you know, E.T. was not finished or it's terrible. It's actually not. I mean, compared to other games of its day during the Atari era, E.T. is pretty complex, and I would say it broke a lot of ground as far as what the Atari can do. And the fact that he didn't have much time to complete it in the first place, you know, to do it properly, and he came up with this game, it's pretty amazing. I tell you, this game though, when I first started playing it, I was getting nowhere. I couldn't even get to the top. It took a while to get used to the way that you actually have to like spin the web and where you can actually land it. And then when you get up to this point, I still have trouble, just like that. Whoa. Oh. I know there's something to do with those bombs, too. I think that the whole idea of this game is he's trying to get to the top, and then you have to defuse like a super bomb, which is kind of represented by that weird square thing that at the top. That was like the super bomb, even though it doesn't look like a bomb. It's kind of weird because they can make all these other bombs look like bombs, but they couldn't make the super bomb look like a bomb. Falling. There was a game on the 2600. It was like Pac-Man. Oh, whoops. You were a soldier and you had a gun. I can't think of the name. I wonder if you're thinking of the game Alien. There's a game called Alien. It looks like Pac-Man. Kind of have a gun. Or you're thinking of Dark Cavern. But in Dark Cavern, you don't collect dots. Alien, you actually collect dots. Alien is very much like Pac-Man. It's like a 20th Century Fox game. Very loosely based on the movie, I would say. Don't expect to see Sigourney Weaver in there. But, yeah, definitely carried the Alien name franchise. And it was pretty much a Pac-Man clone. But there's a lot of other games that could have been also a Pac-Man clone, so... I mean, back then when developers had to come up with a game really fast, that could have been their go-to. In fact, that's another reason why I applaud E.T. is that Howard Scott Warshaw could have taken the easy route and literally just made like a Pac-Man or Centipede or Space Invader clone. Why do I keep falling? Ah, crap. But he didn't. He decided to like break the mold and make a game that was completely different than what everybody was used to on the Atari. I mean, kudos to him for doing that, because he could have just simply said, I'm going to make an ET game. It's going to be like Kaboom, or it's going to be like this, or it's going to be like that. And, you know, slapped ET in there, but he didn't. What's up with that music, too? That doesn't sound like Spider-Man. I always wondered about that, when they would have the license to do something like this, but then the music is completely wrong. And where's the Spider-Man tune? It'd be like, you know, when they make a Star Wars game and they don't have the Star Wars soundtrack in there. If anybody else wants to throw some games out at me, just throw it in the chat. If I have it, I'll play it. Well, at least I'll attempt to play it. No guaranteeing I'm going to know what I'm doing. Uh-oh. Yay! Kool-Aid Man, yeah. I don't think I've ever played the Atari version of that. You know, I've played the Intellivision version. Completely different game. I think I'm supposed to be saving these people. There we go. Gotta wait for the bombs to explode, because if you don't, you'll end up getting blown up by them. Getting all blown up. Oh. I mean, this isn't a bad game. I can imagine if I had an Atari back then, I would have played this a lot. But I had an Intellivision, and this didn't exist on the Intellivision. Oh man, come on, you can do it! Whoa. No. Alright. Die! Well, let's see if I have Kool-Aid Man. I don't know. I have a whole whack of ROMs here, so. Kool-Aid Man. Oh, jeez. I don't know if I've ever played this before. What the heck do I have to do? Okay, this is definitely much more crazier than I expected it to be. What is going on? Like, legitimately here, what is going on? Who programmed this? Are those like the thirsties or something? You have to like collect them? Yeah, Billy O was saying he's never played Kool-Aid Man. Neither have I. Not, well, like I said, I played the Intellivision version, and it's completely different. The Intellivision version is actually quite interesting. You're in a like a haunted house or some kind of a house thing. You're running around the house, and you have to collect all the ingredients to make Kool-Aid, and I don't know what this is. This seems like it was a game that was probably designed to do something else, and then they decided to just slap the Kool-Aid logo on it. Turn the character into a Kool-Aid instead of This is very bizarre. And I'm sure they've done that a lot with some of these old games, you know. Where somebody already had the game programmed, and then they're like, oh, we need a game for this sponsor, so then they're like, oh, let's just use my game, and then they slightly modify the graphics a bit. You have to touch them when they're drinking water. So is that what they're doing? They're drinking water. That's supposed to be a straw? Okay. What's the K do? I lost the K. There was a K there. So this is kind of like a dodge. Oh, there's a W. Kind of like a dodge 'em type of style. You know, you just kind of try not to get hit by the whatever those things are. Now, was this game a promo? I think it might have been. I know the Intellivision one was, but was the Atari one a promo, or did they sell it off the shelf? Because some of these games, like Chase the Chuck Wagon and Tooth Protectors, and you know, some of these that were like sponsored by actual like companies, were promo games. You could only get them if you like mailed in for them. You had to pay some money. Maybe find the ad in a comic book or something, or off the product itself, and then mail in the code. I'm like bouncing all over the place here. This is the craziest game I've ever played. I don't know what's happening. Well, at least it looks like the it's kind of looking like a Kool-Aid kind of dude. Still trying to figure out what that Pac-Man game was like. You sure it wasn't Alien? That was the one I was thinking of. Whoa. Oh. What does that mean? I got the letter. I inflated into a giant Kool-Aid man. I think this would be much better playing it with a real joystick versus playing it with a gamepad, I think. Just the control you need over this guy to dodge all these, whatever these things are that look like cherry bombs. You know, am I invincible when that happens? Maybe that's what happens. Whoa! Whoa! When you grab the items, you can touch the thirsties, even if they are not drinking water. Ah. That's some handy tip there. So what happened? Is it just like timed out or something? What am I missing? Let's give this one more shot. I can say this is a very colorful game. Whoa. Oh, I see. Okay, so there's a timer there. 40, 43, 42. So it runs on a timer. I wasn't even looking up there. There's so much going on, so I guess it's how many you can grab within that time frame. That's your score. This is a real crazy game. Like I said, I think this would be so much better playing it on a real joystick than a gamepad. Oh, okay, talk to you later, Carlsbad. Thanks for jumping in. Pleasure having you on my channel. Hope you had some fun watching me play some Atari games. Alright, I'm the big thirsty guy. I drank all the water. Oh, they're drinking all the water. How do you fill the water back up? This is crazy. I don't know what's happening. It's funny how two different, you know, the same game, the same name anyways, on two different systems, but have two completely different games. But I guess that's just the way they licensed it back then. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Any other suggestions? There's a ton of Atari games. Fantastic Voyage, I remember seeing that. Now what is that? It's funny that I'm hitting these games I've never heard of. Do I have that one? I do. That's a 20th Century Fox game too. Oh, it's another space shooter type of game. Let's see what's going on. Oh, I see. Is that a key? Nope. Whoa. Whoa. I remember playing a game like this on the Commodore 64. It's one of those games I had to actually type it in myself, and I typed it out of a book. Took a while. Sound effects on this are kind of annoying. Really? Holy crap. Hold on a sec. I think my lost my chat there. Alright, let's try that again. This is you know, I guess you can kind of say this is like a River Raid kind of game. Not as colorful. River Raid is really colorful, got a lot going on. Trying to understand what you're shooting at. This is kind of, I don't know. Perhaps this is an earlier game. Well, I think I just saw in the menu screen that it was a 20th Century Fox game. Perhaps it's based on something like a movie or a book or something. Perhaps. Woo. What did I hit there? These things kind of remind me of asteroids. You have to shoot them a couple times to blow them up. Whoa. That's interesting. It just all of a sudden squishes down. Whoa. Targets just get really small there. Oops. Something just happened there. I think I just died. That's an annoying, annoying sound game. Alright, anybody want to throw some other games at me? I'll be happy to play it. I pretty much have, I don't know if I have every single game here, but I got a lot of them. I mean, lots of classic games here. That's what I like about Atari. There was so many great games for it. Otherwise, I'll just randomly pick one. let's stay away from some of the porno games for now. Berserk, bowling, boxing. Circus, I stink at that game. Lots of great games. Crackpots. You know what? I remember playing this, but I don't remember what I had to do. Oh yeah, okay. This is an Activision game. I remember playing this when I first got the Activision Classics on my PC a long time ago. Back when they first started to actually release classic games on, like, you know, CD and stuff like that. Way before we had emulators that you could just download off the internet, and way before we had flashback systems. Lock and Chase. Now that's a good one. This is kind of like the reverse of Kaboom in a sense, where you're kind of playing the Mad Bomber. I don't know if this game, I think this game is actually a joystick game though. I don't think you use the paddle on it. Seems like a game you would use the paddle on, because it's very similar to Kaboom. It's just the opposite, you know, where you're the one throwing the stuff instead of the one catching the stuff. Yikes. I don't like spiders. I'm not a big fan. Billy-O is asking what this one is. This is Crackpots. It's an Activision game. Crackpots is one of the, you know, popular Activision titles. Like I say, it's kind of got just like Kaboom in a sense. Kaboom is the one where you're catching bombs that are the Mad Bombers throwing. Kind of the opposite of this game. Ugh. Only this whole thing is new too. I mean, if you get enough spiders that crawl into your windows, if you don't kill them, they eat your building away. And yeah, this would definitely be better if it was a paddle game. Right now I'm not sure if it's. I don't think it is. I think you actually do use the joystick on this one. But this definitely would be a good candidate for a paddle game. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, the paddles are they're a controller you had for the Atari, and it had instead of a joystick, it had a circular, like a steering wheel kind of idea, and you just turned that left or right to control the whatever you had to control. So in this case, it would be the dude at the top there. Instead of pushing right and left with your joystick, you'd just be able to like turn the paddle, and the buttons were on the side, almost like you know, like a pinball game. They don't really make controllers like that anymore. I know I have one that's similar to it on the PlayStation. I bought a long time ago, and it kind of has that kind of feel to it. I'm pretty sure it was for like the first PlayStation. I don't know if it was actually made by Sony or anything. I think maybe it could be a third party. Keep eating my building. I'm not a big fan of spiders. I'm one of those people that just like sees a spider in the house and I have to squish it. I think I'm going to lose. It's just one of those games where it's all about scoring the highest points. I mean, nothing really changes. It just kind of keeps going on and on. I'm not sure how far I can go down before I lose. I guess it starts getting harder and harder as you get closer to the ground. The spiders don't have much of a distance. So I guess it's so many spiders go into the windows and you lose. Oh, that's it. Let's see if I have Lock and Chase. That was thrown out there by Neo Turbo Maniac. Lock and Chase. Oops. Lock and Chase. There we go. Now, Lock and Chase, I'm more familiar with on the Intellivision. But this one's not bad either. It's definitely missing the music that the Intellivision version had. The Intellivision one was much more colorful too. This is obviously a Pac-Man clone. They made a lot of those. Obviously off the coattails of Pac-Man. Everybody wanted to play Pac-Man, so it's kind of funny though that, you know, a lot of these Pac-Man clones were better Pac-Man games than the actual Pac-Man game on Atari. Atari 2600 anyways. I mean, the original Atari 2600 Pac-Man was a complete letdown. And I've read a bunch of stories on it, on, you know, was it rushed? Was it, you know, intentionally bad? Did the programmer not know what he was doing? You know, there was a lot of theories on it. Did he have enough memory to actually complete or create a proper Pac-Man game? Because there was a lot of talk of that about, you know, back in the day, the Atari creators, they had to work with like 2 or 4K cartridges, and they wouldn't, I think maybe it was 4. They only gave them like the minimum amount, and they would claim that they had such limited capabilities to create these games. And that's why if you look at a lot of these older Atari 2600 games, you'll actually notice that the right-hand side of the game and the left-hand side of the game are mirrored. It's almost as if you took the one side and just copied it and flipped it over to the other side. And that was done intentionally, because they would program the one side and just mirror it to the other side. So you'll notice that if you look at a lot of the older, I don't know if it was a lot of Activision games or just in general a lot of the older Atari games, you'll notice that you can see how the right side and the left side are pretty much the same. It's just the opposite, because they would just flip, you know, take the code and just flip it. So if you look at the old Pac-Man 2600, the original, you could see that the half of the board on the one side, it's reflected on the other side. Was it 2K? Yeah, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man kind of made up for it. If you played Miss Pac-Man on the Atari 2600, it definitely made up for the horrible Pac-Man version that came out. And, you know, it kind of sucks that, well, shoot. It kind of sucks that, you know, people had to, they were, you know, all excited about having a home version of Pac-Man, and that's what happens. So Billy O says he got the Activision patch for Skylinks. That's actually pretty cool. I've heard of that. So back when Activision, when they were selling their games, they would put something in the manual, like if you get a certain score, you could take a picture of the screen and submit it, and then you would actually get a patch. Kind of back in the day when things were a little bit more rough. I mean, today they would never do that because so many people can cheat now. And, you know, you can Photoshop that stuff in. Back in the 80s, you would never be able to really cheat that. You literally took a Polaroid of your screen. Nobody had the capability of manipulating a Polaroid. I mean, unless you were in some kind of crime lab. I mean, come on. And we're talking about video games here. People didn't really take them that seriously, that they would go through the trouble to manipulate it. But today, people can do it so easily. So, but yeah, that's what you do. And actually, some of that talk right now in the news about Todd Rogers and his dragster score that I guess they've taken away from him, because they're saying that it's impossible that he could have actually got that score. And when he submitted it a long time ago, apparently he submitted a Polaroid or something, and now that's lost, and you know, there's no way to really verify it. And of course, once you brand somebody a cheater in one area, you almost have to take away everything, because, oh no, you know, if you lose your trust in them. So whether Todd Rogers actually cheated and didn't get the high score in Dragster, which some people are also claiming is pretty much impossible. I keep forgetting to lock the doors. This is lock and chase after all. Oops. There's doors. I can actually shut these people in. So obviously whether Todd Rogers lied about it or not, I don't know. I mean, we're going back to a day where they didn't have a lot of ways of really verifying your score. Okay, anybody else? Let's see, we got Lock and Chase. I'm trying to remember Skyjinx. Skyjinx was interesting. I wonder if I have that. Let's try Skyjinx, just because we brought that one up. Skyjinx, Activision title. I don't think I'm good at this one. It's really just a back and forth kind of do not hit the objects on the screen. Trial run. Am I doing this right? I don't think I'm doing this right. I think I'm supposed to be going around these things. Kind of like the skiing game, but am I even doing this right? Oh, hitting everything. Alright, that was probably a terrible score. Whoa. It's just like barnstorming. I don't think I was ever good at this one though. Just like geez, just hitting everything. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Yep, I suck at this one. Terrible. Just terrible. Yeah. Any other suggestions? Smurf is a good one. I like Smurfs. Although I like the Smurf on the, what do you call it? ColecoVision better. Here's another one that I kind of got hooked on for a while. That's Stampede. Let's just play this for a little bit. This one does take a little bit of getting used to. Another Activision title. Oh. In this game, you can't let them leave the screen, and the different colors tell you how fast they move. So the light yellow ones move the slowest. The darker orange, and then there's the brown ones. Oops. And as they leave the screen, it counts down, and then when you hit the 0, the game is over. And oh, darn it! The black one that shows up doesn't move, so you have to literally catch it, or else you lose one. Tried to learn the strategy to this game, like, oh no, oh no, like which ones to go after and which ones to just keep herding along. I think once you catch 2 of the brown ones, that's when the black one shows up. Oh, yeah. Billy O is saying yes, I'll have to do this again. Yeah, I actually had a lot of fun doing this. It's kind of fun. Hopefully next time I'll get some more suggestions thrown at me, because I'd rather be playing games that people are asking for. And it's interesting. I mean, to just like play a game at random like this, not knowing if I even know how to play the game. Learning something new. Oh shoot. Oh no, another one. Yeah, I'm not good at this one. I just don't have the rhythm on this one. I don't know why. Just I tried watching other people play it and see what strategies they use. Audrey Sampson says they earned Mega Mania and Spider Fighter patches as a kid in the late 80s and had to eBay them as an adult. That's funny. Mega Mania, actually, I remember playing that one. That was actually a pretty decent game too. Hero's a good game too. Played that one not that long ago. Alright, let's just play one last game. If anybody wants to throw a game at me, now's your chance. Just going to wait for the chat to come in there. I'm going to play one last game. What's it going to be? Stampede, I like it. I think I have fun with it. It's just there's some kind of strategy to it. I'm just not getting it. There's something to it. So we got possibly Mega Mania, possibly Hero. Green Lantern just came in. How's it going? So what I'm doing is I'm just throwing it out there. What Atari games you'd like me to play? So Audrey Sampson is saying Planet Patrol. Yeah. So Green Lantern. Just so you know, this is just a free for all. So I'm asking viewers to throw games at me, and then I'm just kind of playing them on the go. So let's see, the one that was thrown at me was Planet Patrol. Let's see if I have that one. Planet Patrol. Who made the Spectravision? Oh goodness. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I've never played this before. Let's get going. Spectravision, didn't they have a bunch of rare titles too, like Gas Hog, and I think they're the ones that made Chase the Chuck Wagon. A lot of their games were fairly rare. Or more expensive anyway. What is this? I'm supposed to be blowing those things up. Oops. Pretty decent sound, I mean. I don't know what's going on here. Guess I lost. No, actually I didn't play Ghost. Ghost is a good one though. One of the more solid titles for the Atari 2600. This is like almost like a side-scrolling Zaxxon. Cripes. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, Chase the Chuck Wagon. And I always see like I think there's China Syndrome too. I remember last time I was at a video game store, not too far away from where I live, they had China Syndrome. And he wasn't really, I mean, most of the games he was selling was like Nintendo and Nintendo, Sega, Genesis, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, all the more modern stuff. He had a box of Atari games, and I asked him about it. He was just kind of sitting on his floor, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I haven't really priced them out yet." And I asked him about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind pricing. You know, if you have some ideas of what you would like." And I asked him about the one that was China Syndrome. I'm pretty sure that was Spectravision. And then of course he went and Googled it or looked it up on eBay or something. And he's like, "Oh, I'd have to ask like $30 for it." I'm like, $30? Never even heard of the game. I don't think so. And I went home and I looked it up, and I'm pretty sure it was a Spectravision game. And it doesn't even look that good. I mean, I guess they just made a lot of titles that were a little more rare. Maybe they started doing, or maybe they didn't have a big production run or something, or maybe they came late in the game. Oh yes, now there's a classic. Yara's Revenge. Okay, just for the heck of it, let's just do that. This is going to be my last video game. Yara's Revenge. Howard Scott Warshaw. Let's see. Time freeze. See, what's the difference? Is this the actual? I don't know what the difference is. There we go. Maybe this is it. I don't know if this is the actual one or not. Oops. This is the problem with the emulators too. You never know if you're getting the actual game or not. So this one you have to like watch out for that missile. So watch out for when he's about to shoot. And the only way to get your missile back is to actually eat away at the shield. This is all about timing. Whoa. And I'm not doing too well here. It's that missile thing that really drives you nuts. Oh. Keep missing them. So you have to eat away at the shield. And then you get this missile over here on the side down here. And then it's a case of just lining up your shot. And you can shoot yourself, which really sucks. Yeah, I don't think this is right. This is... Oops. Doesn't feel like it's like the original. Die. Now I heard or read about the naming and all that stuff about this, and it's kind of like a play on some manager or somebody that they had to like report to. Oh, James Campbell's in. How's it going? He's on his break. He's gonna only stay for 10 minutes. That's okay, James. I'm gonna be wrapping it up soon, anyways. This is gonna be the last game I'm playing. Just, you know, running out of time myself here. But this is a classic one. This is always a fun one to play. Never good at it, but if you have a flashback system, there's Yara's Return, where they literally like made it harder. It never actually existed on a real Atari system. See if I can get this. Finally! Wow. This is the worst I've ever played this game. Now I know with this, you have to like eat away at it slowly. Oops. I just blew myself up with my own missile. Not very smart. You have to keep in mind too, I mean this game was made by the same guy that made the E.T. game, so you know, he definitely made a lot of great games. He also made Raiders of the Lost Ark. So he was by no means deserved to get the you know, attention that he got. Although maybe making E.T. brought him a little bit more into the spotlight. It's just too bad that so many people think that E.T. is a bad game, even though it's not. Of course, if you play it without reading the manual first, then yeah, you'll think it's a bad game, but if you think about how many games on, say, Nintendo or any of the complicated systems of today, if you don't read the manual, if you don't know what you're doing, I believe if I shoot now, the missile will go first. But yes, I can shoot the, ouch. I done blew up. You have to be careful because you still need the shield there if you want to, like, get any more missiles. I don't think I'm going to be able to get him. You have to kill him with the missile as far as I know. Ah. Keep shooting myself. Oh. So, Mindbender0 is asking, what am I streaming the Atari on? Is this the flashback? Actually, no. This is, I'm just doing this on my PC. This is a Stella, the emulator Stella. You can actually get it off the Atari Gauge website. And I'm just doing it through my PC. Just kind of streaming it in a window. Just because, you know, it's easier for me. I have all the ROMs here. I mean, I do have the flashback. I have the flashback 8. I also have, obviously, real Ataris. I have a lot of the games that I've been playing today, with a few exceptions. I mean, I think there might have been 1 or 2 games that I played today that I don't own. But most of them I own them, and I think if I could, you know, if I had a capture device, which I don't have, I probably could rig it up, but I just don't. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to be wrapping this up now. This has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed this. This was just an idea I came up with on the fly. I threw it out there on my Facebook page, Brian's Man Cave on Facebook. If you haven't found my page, you can probably search it out and then hit the like. I also have a Facebook gaming group, essentially, well, Retro Gaming and Retro Toys it's called. So if you want to join that group, that's you know, another way you can actually reach me. And I always throw up my ideas there to say, you know, this is what I'm going to be doing. And this one, I kind of came up with an idea just to see if it would be fun, if, you know, people would chime in and if they would like to throw some ideas at me. And we'll just, you know, play it as is. I didn't really have any plan. It's just whatever games people threw at me, I would try and play it. And, you know, maybe I can do this with other systems too. I have, for instance, some Nintendo stuff. So I just thought Atari's pretty easy to figure out on the fly. Most Atari games, you could just start, you know, hit the ground running. You don't need to, you know, you don't need to read manuals all the time just to play Atari games. So I just thought this would be the easiest one to start off with. And, you know, I think I'm going to do this again. I had a lot of fun. And I'd like to get more input from the chat, more people giving some ideas. Hopefully James Campbell can come in again and throw some ideas, because I'd like to play some games that he would like to see, and we could have a lot more fun. Anyways, hope you liked the video. I'm going to be shutting it down, and this was great. I mean, I had a lot of fun, and hopefully next time we could play some more games. And as always, if you'd like to support me, I have a Patreon account. It's in the comment section below. But I also have another way you could support me. I started to create my own line of designs for t-shirts, mugs, and a lot of other stuff. So you'll see that also down in there. So if you don't want to support me on Patreon, you can always just buy a mug, you buy a t-shirt. I got a lot of retro gaming concepts in there, and if you have an idea you'd like to throw at me, again, I can try and create your idea and put it onto a mug or a t-shirt. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe to my channel. Talk to you later.